a Talk Dodgers podcast.
What happens in Vegas?
With time.
What happens in Vegas? First down, touchdown, Super Bowl. Vegas Heat, Sin City Streets, Raiders too cold.
Touchdown.
Carter Waller, it can't be stopped. Jacobs with the rock. O-line hit the blocks. Offense off the chain. Defense is ready. Raider Nation, one goal, just win Vegas. What happens in Vegas? What happens in Vegas? What happens in Vegas? Welcome to the podcast, What Happens in Vegas, listeners, Raider Nation across the world. I appreciate you guys for joining me. I am Neal Maligno, your host of the What Happens in Vegas podcast. I'm excited. Why? Why, you ask? Because this episode is being released on the day that actual NFL Week 1 football is being played. It feels sometimes like this day takes forever to get here, but once it gets here, it gets to flying. It gets to flying. You know what I mean? So it's not the Raiders. The Raiders aren't playing today, so we're not going to talk about the game that is actually of today because this is a Raiders podcast. If you're looking for content that covers the game that plays today, then go to a podcast for that. We're going to talk about the Raiders because they do play this week. They play the Ravens. It's very exciting. Obviously, everyone is out here telling us that the Ravens are going to blow the Raiders out on Monday Night Football. The Raiders aren't ready for Lamar Jackson. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares, right? Who cares what they think? Who cares what they believe? Who cares how they feel about this game? I think it's closer than those skeptics believe. I think that, we're going to see a much improved Raiders defense. I think that the offense will be clicking on cylinders like it was last year, so I'm not really concerned about it at all. And so I think the Raiders can put up points, and the Raiders will make some plays on defense. Will it be enough? We'll see. I sure hope so. We'll likely have another episode diving more into that before the game actually happens. So maybe on Saturday, I'll release that episode. But just for today, just trying to catch up on all the latest news, all the latest things that have happened since we last spoke. I had a little bit of a delay in between episodes because I'm excited that I got a brand new mic. I got a brand new setup for the mic. So everything should sound great. It looks great over here, and I'm excited about it. So it took me a little bit to, get the new equipment, set it up, and get everything just right for you guys. So here we are. Since we last spoke, the Raiders, have officially acquired Denzel Pyramin. He's on the, actual transaction sheet since we last spoke, I believe. I know we talked about it, but I don't know if it was actually like official when we talked about it. They signed a bunch of guys over to, the practice squad. They filled that bad boy up. They actually signed Markel Lee back to the practice squad, which is cool. It's nice to see old faces sometimes. So they brought him back. They signed running back Peyton Barber, which is an interesting move. I know Jalen Richard isn't healthy yet. I told you guys that I thought that Jalen Richard might be cut. He hasn't been cut yet, so I'm assuming that's not going to happen. So Peyton Barber is a placeholder for him, I guess, right now. They keep trying out running backs, though. So I'm not exactly sure, why they're so concerned about the third running back right now. I don't know if they, if the Jalen Richard thing is going to take a while or, Gruden is just still obsessed with running backs and wants more. I really don't care past Jacobs and Drake, who is the third running back. I don't really care that much. I know someone can get hurt. I believe in the backup to take his place, or if the backup gets hurt, I believe in the third running back to do enough to, fill Josh's spot. I mean, help back up Josh, but Peyton Barber, whoever it is, I mean, there's tons of guys out there right now, like Adrian Peterson and Latavius Murray just got cut. So there's guys out there to, to fill these spots. Whether they'll be happy with the third running back role, I don't know. But if someone did get hurt, like Josh or Drake, then I'm sure those guys would be more inclined to sign. We also signed KJ Wright. That's probably one of my most exciting signings that we've done in a while. If you've seen his press conference, I think it was, maybe a couple of days after he signed, he was talking about how he was mad. He's very angry, because it took him this long to get signed in the offseason. This was the first time that he was ever like a true free agent and didn't get, a response that he had, expected. And so he seems pretty motivated. Obviously, he's familiar with his defense. KJ Wright's a monster. He's a monster. I know he's a little late in his career now, but if he can, be 80% of what he was, 75% of what he was, he's still better than anyone we had, in that position. So they waived Muse. it's one of those things. We'll talk about that in a second. They also signed David Moore and Patrick Onwuasor to the practice squad. They released B.J. Emmons and Niall Scott from the practice squad to make room for those guys. Patrick's an interesting guy on the practice squad. Those are the kind of guys you want on the practice squad. The Tanner Muse thing. Okay, so here's what I said. We'll talk about this in a second. I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and I know that it's confusing because the way the team was speaking, it was as if Tanner Muse was in some position to not even start, but be a depth player of some kind of, not significance or importance, but that he had some kind of, position on this team, that there was some kind of real hope that he would develop, that he was developing into some, true player. After all that, they go and cut him and he signs with Seattle. And so some people are a little annoyed by it. My thing is this: when the Raiders draft guys like Tanner Muse, Lynn Bowden, and then they turn around and they cut them before they ever play for real in the NFL, it is frustrating. It is very frustrating, especially when they're third-round picks and this kind of stuff. My bigger deal is this: I'm not upset about cutting a third-round pick necessarily, although it sucks. It's not like, something you want to do. My problem is Tanner Muse and Lynn Bowden both were developmental players when you drafted them. They were both guys who needed work. They were both guys who were not just going to immediately come in and, assume this role like you maybe wanted them to. These were in no question. They were both developmental players. Lynn Bowden obviously could get probably, along easier, quicker because, he's an offensive playmaker. So you could move him around and get him plays. He may not fit into what you want right away, but he can make plays and get busy out there. Tanner Muse, was going to be developmental also from the jump. So my problem is not that you cut a third round pick, because it happens and the best of teams do it, but why are you drafting players that are developmental? That they're not going to come in right away and immediately, make this enormous impact. They're not going to immediately come in and own some position, because they were already, positionless players in the sense of when they were in college, they were playing all over the field. They were doing all kinds of things. They weren't specialists necessarily in anything. So when you want them to come to the team and eventually be a specialist at something, they're developmental. Why do you cut them before they even play a game in the NFL? Did you really find out that quickly that your developmental player isn't ready for the NFL at all and is not going to be? Did you already find that out? Because he never played it down in the NFL. So did you find that out in practice? In preseason, when we know things are not, exactly real life game activity? It's just one of those things that it is annoying. And so how do you adjust as a team? I would say you draft those kind of guys later, because they probably never deserve to be drafted in the round they were drafted in. That would be one thing that would make this less frustrating. And you could have drafted actual non-developmental players, ones who didn't need as much work, who were already more of a specialist in a position. And you can draft these guys later. So then it doesn't matter as much. You don't feel the burden of them having to perform right away. That's just one idea. A second idea is if you're drafting a guy to be developmental, how about you develop him and you let that play out? Maybe 2 seasons, some reps in games, actual live games. But cutting them before they ever do any of it, man, I don't know. That does bother me a little bit, Raiders. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here as a fan and not be critical. So, when you listen to this podcast, yes, it's a fans podcast. Yes, it's for the fans. Yes, it's, Raider Nation 24/7, but we are not going to be just 100. We're not going to be biased here and not, be critical of the Raiders when they do things that are just a little questionable. So that's questionable. I'm not saying KJ Wright's not better. He's light years better. He's a, amazing player. And Tanner Muse was nobody yet. Will he ever be anybody? Who knows? Will he ever be KJ Wright? Absolutely, probably not. That's not the point. The point is just, why are you drafting developmental players in the rounds you're drafting them and then not letting them play in the NFL? That's all my thing is. Like, you developed them and then you sent them to another team. So now that team, they'll do some more development of their own. Maybe give them some NFL snaps, and who knows what'll happen. It's just weird that you don't give them NFL snaps and then you're like, all right, we're done. Like, you probably could have drafted them later. or probably not drafted him at all and just drafted actual players who are ready, in a sense, with more reps at a set position. It's just a little annoying. It's not going to affect the season. It's not going to affect our success this season. So I don't care in that viewpoint. I just care about, like, in the grand scheme of things when you're drafting. Like, can you adjust to not draft these guys in the future, please? Or draft them later? It'd be great. So the defense looks like it's been improved a ton. Honestly, if this defense doesn't hit middle of the league defense, it's going to be incredibly disappointing. On the ends, we have Yannick and Max, Ngakoue and Crosby. Yeah, that's our ends. Ngakoue and Crosby. Behind them, they have some depth. Guys who were like starters, basically, it felt like before this. We basically pushed the starters back into backups and got healthy starters. Guys who have, Max has changed his life around. I'm expecting that's going to be dramatic improvement for him. He has a real nasty D end on the other side of him, and it should help a lot. The defensive tackles, we have a slew of different guys that all have different skills, different traits, and will keep each other fresh. So I'm excited about that. At linebacker, you're looking at KJ Wright. You're looking at Pyramin. You're looking at Nick. You're looking at Corey, both back from last year, who, we expected a lot from last year. In this new defense where they can do less thinking and just more going. And if they stay healthy, we would assume those two would improve as well. And especially with Denzel and KJ there helping them out. And then you got Divine and some other guys there who depth. At corner, we got Mullen, we got Casey, we got Hobbs, we got Arnett another year in the system, Robertson another year in the system who looked good in the preseason. I'm excited about that group. All young guys except Casey. He's familiar with the system, so he's helping bring them along. But that group should flourish if the linebackers and the D-line in front of them, get down to business like they should. And then at safety, we got Morig, Abram, Teamer, Gillespie. We got some guys, man. We got some guys. This is a nice nice mix of veterans, rookies, young guys, second-year players, third-year players. I really, with the new coaching, the new players, the players getting better who are already here, the rookies, if this isn't, a middle-of-the-pack defense at the least, I'll be super disappointed. If they are a middle-of-the-pack defense, the Raiders have a chance this year, man. It's just the facts. Because the offense is not going to take a step back. Carr is only going to keep getting better. If you listen to Keyshawn Johnson, he's an elite quarterback. Some people disagree. Some Raider fans are obviously, due to all the losing, not as supportive as they could be or should be of Derek Carr. I love Derek Carr. So I think he is a top 15 quarterback in this league. So I'm fine with Derek Carr. We got Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake behind him. So running back is set. No matter who the third running back is, as the Raiders continue to rotate guys. Darren Waller is to me the best tight end in football, right there with Kelsey. Obviously not, the track record hasn't, been as long, but his last couple of years has obviously proved that he's elite. The O-line is not concerning me at all. Leatherwood looks like he's gonna get busy up there on the front of the line. We know what Colton can do, Richie can do. Andre James is kind of the wild card, but all reports have been good. So the O-line should hold up. Alec Ingold, fullback. He's good. He does what he says what he's supposed to do. He's a fun guy to have on the team. And then the wide receivers. My biggest concern is the wide receivers. I discussed this previously. The Raiders are putting a lot of stock in Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards, improving leaps and bounds from their rookie seasons. Of course, Zay is there, and Hunter Renfrow is there, and Willie Snead is there. So they have, veteran presence behind them, veteran guys who can make some plays, but has Zay ever taken over a game? You know, with the Raiders? No, he hasn't. Willie Snead, we haven't seen him at all. Hunter Renfrow has had his games here and there, but he hasn't consistently dominated games at all. So this team is banking. Obviously, Darren Waller is your best pass catching playmaker, but and the running backs are stacked and stout, and the quarterback can make decisions. But Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards are going to be. I can't even express how major their impact is going to have to be. So I really hope. I mean, the staff obviously believes it. They let John Brown go. They haven't brought anybody else in like they keep doing at running back. So the Raiders are rolling with Ruggs and Edwards. I have to believe that they've dramatically improved. I have to believe the team isn't just, hoping that it's going to work. I really hope that they've done their work and that these two have shown signs that they can handle everything that's about to be thrown on them. And if so, this offense should not take a step backwards. Just with the running backs, Waller, the O-line staying solid, Derek Carr, it should keep it where it was at. And so we just don't want it to decline. We just don't want it to take a step back. And if it doesn't, this team should compete for the playoffs. I'm excited. We'll talk more about, like I said, the Ravens game. Before that happens, I'll probably release the episode on Saturday to talk about it. Also, I seen an article that said StubHub said that the Raiders are the most in-demand team ahead of the 2021 season. I don't know what the facts are driving that. I'm sure there's some kind of data, but that's pretty interesting for the online reseller to say. So they must be seeing the numbers that back that up on their app, which is pretty cool. I mean, it is just StubHub. It's not like maybe everywhere, but if it's on StubHub, you would like to believe it's going everywhere, We'll see. That's interesting, if true. And yeah, man, I'm excited. It sounds like everyone else is excited. Raiders get a Monday Night Football. It's going to be a big statement opportunity. We just don't want the Raiders to drop the ball, obviously, and get embarrassed or blown out by Lamar Jackson and them. And like I said, we'll talk about that before the game. Probably on Saturday, I'll release an episode. Maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But either way, the Raiders have a big opportunity in front of them, especially on Monday Night Football, to make a statement. The team looks ready on paper. Has had its moments in practices and in preseason games and all that kind of stuff. And we'll see if John Gruden and this coaching staff is really taking this team to the next level this time. If you got the right defensive coordinator in place, if the offense is going to, hold to what it did last year or improve, and if the defense is really right, KJ Wright, if it's really right, like we're hoping it is, the Raiders have a playoff team. No excuse. And it always is nothing less than the playoffs. But really, this season, if the Raiders don't make the playoffs, some people got to answer for it, in my opinion. Some people have to answer for that. You guys know you can find me on Twitter at ClockDodgers. Please follow. If you follow and you listen to the podcast, drop me a line so I know you're a Raider fan. You're following because you listen to what happens in Vegas, so that I can go ahead and make sure I follow you back. Don't forget to go ahead and leave a review. I want to get us up there, man. The season's about to kick off. We need to let other Raider fans know, hey, this is a legit show right here, man. This is the podcast you want to listen to. This is one you want to have in your arsenal, and your review does that. So if you're listening, either you're a Clock Dodgers podcast listener and you're just you're over here supporting and you're enjoying the show, or if you're a Raider fan, whatever the case may be, please leave a review. It's so critical, man. Just go on iTunes if you don't have the podcast app, or go to Apple Podcast app and leave a 5-star review. Let people know what we're doing here. Again, follow, like I said, on social media, at Clock Dodgers on any social media platform, whatever one you're doing. And I'll follow you back. Just say, hey, listen to what's happening in Vegas. Give me a follow back, or whatever the case is. And I will do that. Other than that, guys, that's it. Stay healthy. Stay great. What happens in Vegas? We'll see this week. We'll see this week, guys. I'm out.
This is the Clock Dodgers Podcast.